everybody, welcome to MUSE TV. We are back for another episode, and we got somebody who's near and dear to the hearts of everybody here at MUSE TV because she's a great friend of ours, Isabella Gomez. How are you doing? How's everything been going for you lately?
I mean, I can't complain. Things have been pretty good for me lately, thank God. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great, but we're here to talk head of the class. I binged watched it the first day, of course, because anybody who's friends of ours, we're gonna support and watch it and see it all the way through. I love the show.
Thank
I thought
you.
it was a great show, and I like the fact that it wasn't like the Howard Hessman head of the class. That it's head of the class, but it's something different. What was it about it that when you got the script and you saw the storylines, what did you that you had to be a part of it?
Well, for one, I was really excited about the prospect of playing an adult. I did not think that Hollywood would let me do that for a really long time. And so Amy, Seth, and Bill were like, "Hey, you want to be an adult?" And I was like, yes, I would love to do that. But on top of it, the creative team is amazing. Is Bill Lawrence, who did, oh my God, Ted Lasso, and then Amy and Seth, who did American Vandal, and they're just incredible. And the script was funny. I really liked the dynamic. I had a really young teacher when I was in, I believe, like late middle school, and he was always a topic of conversation because he was like 23, and we were all like, you're one of us. What is happening? Why are you here? And so I thought it was a really fun dynamic and a really interesting dynamic. And so I was very excited to get to play.
Awesome. And you play Alicia Gomez, far stretch with the last name. Didn't have to go far with that one on the last name, but you play Alicia Gomez, like you mentioned, a young teacher, just teaching a debate class, just like same kind of the same premise as the original, but it's different. A lot very different. Uh, what was it that Alicia that you brought from your personal life? Because as you mentioned just right now, you had teachers who were young, and I so did I at one point. But what was it like pulling from what your experience was?
Alicia was a really fun character because I was allowed a lot of freedom and the creative team really trusted me. And I mean, when we did the pilot, did I feel like 17 different versions of Alicia? And we kind of landed in like the one that I brought in during the audition process. And she's just fun, and she's, I think, a version of me in another universe, and in a lot of ways I think she's a version of Elena in a different universe. And I feel like this is the kind of teacher that I would be if I went into a school right now. And so that was a lot of fun, and just getting to like draw from my own personality and just heighten it to a sitcom level, and of course mold it to whatever is being written was really fun. But I think also a little bit of like, we focused a lot on like the unearned confidence for her. And I walked onto a set with Rita Moreno and Norman Lear and Justina Machado at 18 years old and thought I knew what I was doing. And so I just kind of drew from myself when I was a little bit younger.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Like you look at, you've been very lucky. I always say because you were on a show with One Day at a Time that was very successful.
Mhm.
You're on Head of the Class now, another show with is you being a Latina lead. Have you been feeling like now's our time as Latinos to that programming is starting to be made? It's slow,
Mhm.
but it's coming little by little.
Um, God, that's an interesting question. I don't know that now's our time. I think
Mhm,
our time might feel a little different. I
mhm,
think that we're still very much in the midst of the fight, and I'm hoping that our time feels like release and like peace and like um we don't have to fight so hard to be
yeah.
seen. But I do think we're on our way to our time, and I do think that people are more receptive to us. And even like, my God, the last couple months we have Encanto, we have West Side Story, like
Mhm.
we have In the Heights, like we've had a couple big ones this year for us. And so I'm hoping that it translates to a lot more opportunities. But I also hope that we don't have to put our whole community's like future in the hands of just three films in the future, because that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you completely. One thing I did want to ask you is that you're pretty much from the when we talked in 2019 at Gabe's party after party for his show. You're a person who perseverance is such a key thing to you. Because I remember when we were talking then, you're in limbo, and
Mhm.
look at what happened. You're now starring on the head of the show, head of the class. You're starring. What, like, for people who, especially younger people who have those moments where they feel they get that downness into them, but know that if you work hard, you're going to get there. What can you
Mhm.
tell them? Because you're definitely a person who has striven, who has drive.
Yeah. I mean, I think my biggest lesson in life has been surrendering, which I'm still very much learning. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I like things my way, and life has really taught me that that's just not really an option a lot of the time. We don't have control over this industry or any industry really, or what's going to happen outside of our lives or what people are going to do. And so, if the only thing that you have control of is you, make sure you're ready. And so stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Make sure that you are working hard and crafting, if it's this industry, making sure that your craft is on point, making sure that you're ready for those auditions. If it's anything else in life, just knowing where you want to go and being prepared to be the person you want to be so that when the opportunity arises, which it will eventually, and we don't know when eventually is, unfortunately, you're ready and you don't drop the ball because sometimes those opportunities come one time.
And I have to ask you this question because we follow each other on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I saw you the first day you saw your face on a billboard or a poster on Sunset Boulevard. What was your feeling, especially being a lead? What was your feeling? Because I saw your happiness to a level I haven't seen in some time. So tell us, what was that feeling like?
I mean, I feel like this entire show has been such a dream come true in a lot of like personal milestones. I think One Day at a Time was huge for me. It was my first big role. I learned so much on that show, and I obviously was working with royalty, but this one, it felt like it was the first time that I was on my own. I think with One Day at a Time I had training wheels and I had all these incredible people to fall back on, whereas this one, I'm the adult and I have a bunch of underage co-stars. So I was really on my own and trying to figure this out and seeing how much I really did know and really testing myself. And so getting it was huge. I posted a similar video, my first fitting at Warner Brothers, which was my dream studio forever. And then with One Day at a Time, although of course Sony was so lovely and gave us a lot of press, we never had a billboard on Sunset, which is kind of like the dream. If you're an LA actor, if you're in New York, you want Times Square, and if you're here, you want Sunset. And so with this show, I got both, and it's just it's a really wild thing because for One Day at a Time, it made sense that people would put money behind Norman Lear and Rita Moreno and Justina Machado and Todd Burnett. Like that made sense.
Yeah.
And this, it's people putting a lot of money behind me and really betting on me and my talent and what I can do. And of course my kids and my incredible cast, and I have an incredible support system as well. But I don't have EGOTs to fall back on here, and it felt pretty huge and really reaffirming.
Well, you've always put in the hard work. We've known each other for a while now. I know what you've done and what you have accomplished and how hard you work. So you what definitely well deserved.
Thank you.
And with HBO Max, I mean, they've been doing a lot to really push new shows, new different types of shows, even reinvigorating older shows into a new modern age. So I think you're with some great people there. But
Totally.
since it is the Christmas season and we got and people are going to be home watching television, what can you tell the Muse TV audience? One, to watch Head of the Class, and two, you got to pick up HBO Max in order to watch it. But you got you got to watch Head of the Class this holiday season.
Yes, I mean, you guys, listen, HBO Max has an incredible deal where all of these movies are coming out in theaters and in HBO Max. So it just kind of makes sense. If you want to stay home and you want to like be safe and do all of that, I support it. Get HBO Max. And then Head of the Class is such a quick binge. It's so funny, it's fun, it's light. It's not one of those shows that you have to like, oh my God, suffer for. You can just put it on and have a couple laughs and have a good time with your family. So I hope everybody gives us a watch.
Great. Hey, Isabella, thank you so much for coming back to Muse TV. You know you're always welcome here. You're family for us. And we wish you all the best. Anything before we leave? Anything season two already?
God, I wish I knew. Are you kidding? I literally texted my showrunners yesterday and was like, "Hey, do we know?" I think we'll know within the next month or two, so
Awesome.
we'll keep everybody posted.
Exactly. We're keeping our fingers crossed for you so that you get a season two. We definitely need a season two. So thank you so much, Isabella, for
Thank
stopping
you.
by and being a part of this.
Of course, so good to see you.